guys, welcome back. It's Josh with the Financial Advisor Car Guy. This week I'm going to put my professional hat back on, the financial advisor side of my life, and talk to you guys about how people such as myself get paid to work with people such as you. So there are two very generic schools of thought, and one is what we would call a commission base, and the other is what we would call a fee or management fee. And so generally, one isn't always better than the other, and there's definitely a time and a place where they both make some sense. And so I just want to talk to you guys about what that looks like, because it's a super common question that I get all the time at the office. And it's just a really common conversation for us to share with clients, prospective clients, friends, neighbors, whoever's asking questions about money management and what that looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and start out with the first side of it, which is what we call our commission-based. Now, generically speaking, what that means is everything that we do together is transactional. You might call and say, Josh, I want to buy Google stock, or Josh, I want to sell my Microsoft stock, or whatever it is. And for that, we're happy to do that. We're happy to be compliant, make the trades you want. You're not getting any advice, you're not getting any recommendations. You're basically self-directing, but you've got someone such as myself who can execute the trades for you. So we're watching your money, but we may or may not be providing a whole heck of a lot of service. And so for that, you're paying a commission fee, right? A transactional cost. And so whenever we buy or sell or exchange or whatever the cost is, or whatever the service that we're providing for you in that moment happens, you pay us a commission. It's pretty cut and dry, and different products, different services cost different commissions. So, like a life insurance policy, for example, you don't necessarily pay us a commission. The life insurance company does. Or a bank CD, you don't pay us, the bank does. But if you want to buy a mutual fund or a stock or something like that, you're paying a commission, a transaction cost, and generally that's a percentage of what you're buying. So if you're buying, let's call it $10,000 of something, you might pay us somewhere between $200 and $500 to make that transaction. Again, depending on what it is. Mutual funds tend to be a little bit more expensive. Individual stock tend to be a little bit less. So a stock might cost you $200 to buy $10,000 of, whereas a mutual fund might cost you $450 or $500 depending on the mutual fund. So again, transactions are fine because you kind of know ahead of time what your fee is. And you can kind of calculate that into your basis if you choose to. You can kind of monitor that and decide, okay, I don't want to spend more than $1,000 on transactions this year, so I'm going to let my investments ride or whatever. Now we flip the coin. The other side of the situation is what we call a management fee. And a management fee, I'm going to sit down here, is going to be a lot more full-fledged. Basically what that means is you have unlimited trades. You have unlimited access to potentially me, my staff, my expertise, my knowledge, my research, my analytics team, you name it, you have access to it. And for that, you pay a management fee of whatever the management fee is. Now those fees generally industry-wide, I'm not gonna break it down to what my exact fee is because it does vary person to person. But generally, you're going to pay somewhere between 1.25% and 1.5% annually. Now, the cool thing about that, for people that are more active, maybe they're contributing, maybe they're taking, maybe they're, whatever, they're modifying their investments on a regular basis. A lot of the time, the commissions will nickel and dime somebody's account to a point where it becomes way more expensive, just way more expensive. A management fee, you can call and say, sell my Google, buy Apple, sell my Microsoft, buy NVIDIA, whatever. You can make those trades, or I can recommend to those trades to you, and you're not gonna pay anything extra. You're not gonna pay any sort of commission. You are just billed, or the account is just billed monthly for an annual fee divided by 12. Now, one thing I do is I will put into the account some sort of holding, more often than not a mutual fund, that will essentially pay the fee. How do I do that? Well, I'll utilize dividend paying investments, income funds I like to use for this, because they're slow and steady. They do tend to climb over time, but they pay a monthly dividend. And if we park enough money into it, in theory, the dividend that one holding alone pays you every month covers the fee and then some. And so a lot of the time, that's a perfect way to do it because you're getting all these additional services and opportunities and you're working with us on a deeper level and the investments are paying for themselves. Now you might ask, can I buy that investment in a commission-based account? You sure can. You sure can. And if you're gonna let it ride forever, that's fine, right? You're gonna pay a little bit more upfront, but it's a one and done until you decide to change things or sell things or exchange things. So again, in a scenario where you buy investments one time and let them ride forever, commission is better because you're gonna pay more upfront, but if you spread that out over the time you own the investments, you're coming out ahead more likely than not. Now on the flip side of that, if you're sitting on investments for too long, they do go stale, they do get stagnant. And the world, the economy, everything changes day to day, month to month, year to year. And so honestly, I would tell you that it's fairly wrong to build a portfolio, set it and forget it. I'm an advocate for long-term serious investing. And I think if you have good quality, that's important. But to never rebalance your portfolio, to never capture losses, capture gains, be strategic around tax planning. So we call that tax loss harvesting, and that's a serious strategy that we do with clients every year, especially in managed accounts because they're not paying a commission. And what ends up happening is they're getting tons of tax savings. A lot of the time that service alone is worth the 1.25% to 1.5% fee that most brokerage firms charge. So again, you're getting a lot more bang for your buck. There are also firms like mine that have planning software. So if you aren't sure where you're headed or you don't know what your future looks like, you can sit down with your advisor and build a pretty hardy financial plan. And that's awesome. And that's generally included in the management fee. Sometimes there are additional costs and fees for maybe more advanced planning, tax planning, when you get into estate stuff, insurance reviews, a lot of that stuff does cost extra money because it's extra time and it's not necessarily something that we do on the regular, but it's still services and things that we like to provide. So all that to say, right, generally the best bang for your buck is the fee base, but it's not always the cheapest. It is cheaper when somebody is more active in the accounts, wants to stay on top of things, is contributing or taking from, distributing, right? Contributing or distributing. People who occasionally want to get more aggressive or more conservative, and they're just generically more engaged. Again, truly, if you're going to set it and forget it, the commission-based approach is really okay. But again, you don't need somebody like myself if that's all you're going to do. If you're just going to buy investments and hold them, you can go to Fidelity or Vanguard or Schwab or whatever, whoever, E-Trade, open an account, buy a ETF for the S&P 500 and just set it and forget it. That could be free, right? You go there and do it and it might be free, but you're not getting proactive management. You're not getting someone who's holding your hand through it, educating you, making recommendations, helping you time the market, helping you remain consistent and diligent through good times and bad, and just overall keeping you on track towards goals. It's important to work with somebody, I would tell you. It's never great to just do it on your own, but there are DIY people out there that don't think we're worth the money. And I stopped getting offended about that a long time ago. If someone thinks they can do my job on their own, that's awesome. More kudos to you, do it. Get after it, make your money, and that's awesome. But if you want to have some accountability, if you want to eliminate some of the emotional tie to your investments, to your money, work with somebody because they're going to keep you on track regardless of what your heart's telling you or what your head's telling you or what the market thinks it's trying to tell you. You're going to have somebody who's an advocate for you, who's going to hold your hand through good times and bad. The exception to that rule, and I'll close with this, are alternative investments. So real estate, we don't do it. Now there are real estate funds that we help with, but if you want to buy rental property, I'm not your guy. Crypto, if you want to buy crypto, I'm not your guy. Go to Coinbase, open an account, buy your crypto there. Can't help you with that. Otherwise, you name it, I'm there. I'm happy to help. And people like me are all over the place, happy to help too. So reach out. Again, not necessarily to me, reach out to anybody if you have questions, concerns, want to talk about retirement planning, want to talk about goal planning, even just financial budgeting, all that stuff. We do it all. So don't be a stranger. Reach out to somebody in your area. I would tell you local can be important, and go from there. Get your questions answered, and best of luck to you. So that's all I got for you guys this week. I just said it. If you have questions or concerns, let me know. Comment down below, send me an email. Whatever you got, I'm here to help. I'm happy to be a resource. I want you guys to remember to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and of course, remember, may every investment you make be a good one. Until next time.